Hello and welcome to the Studio 2023 and this debate on adopting cloud operating model principles. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. To set the scene, what I'd maybe like to ask first, and to get an idea of where your organisations are in your cloud operating models, is what changes to the organisation's current operating model are required or have been achieved perhaps to fully embrace the potential of cloud across your organisations. I'll start this end of the virtual table, if I may.
Cloud, to me, when you talk to board, it's not a technology strategy. Board must understand it's a business strategy. It's the way we will do business in the future. So is your product, is your customer servicing, is your customer experience is going to be attuned and adopting those cloud technologies? It's very important because it is not yet another technology initiative. It is actually a business initiative. So we got board buy-in. Board was all behind it. And no wonder that we moved from 17%, Mark, to 95% within 2 years. So that's the kind of the adoption we have seen from 17% to 95%. And it's not possible unless you have the whole operating model working with you. So you got to have your development side of it, also restructured, your just people side of it, and a lot more to do with the cultural side of it. What's in it for a normal employee? What's in it for an HR person? Why should they be gung-ho about cloud? So I think it's the whole chain of your organization who needs to understand why and how this cloud operating model will work.
For Mars, as a very large and global enterprise, probably shift to cloud has been happening for many years now. We don't talk about cloud operating model. And we also don't talk about technology operating model because actually the business does not care. We are a CPG, we work with retailers and direct consumers. What the business really worries about is how quickly can I bring a product to market? How do I ship to supply chain? The logistics, how do I bring the innovation, how do I bring the price differentiation, etc. So I don't think we have gone out and talked about COM as an entity. So in a sense, we have changed nothing. But in one sense, we have changed everything. Because it's like the swan kind of floating on the river. A lot of things have changed below the surface, clearly, because over the past sort of 5 years or so, we have shifted a lot of infrastructure onto cloud with the usual suspects, top 3 cloud vendors. So with that has come the thinking of platforms and product and platform owners and product owners. So a lot of things have changed in that sense. The maturity has changed, the automation tool sets have changed, people's job descriptions have changed. But in a sense, nothing has changed for business. And that's good, I think, because I think it's a bit worrying if the business starts to find out about what is your cloud operating model. Actually, they don't.
I was going to use that swan analogy. Now I got to find something new now.
What have been the most compelling benefits that your organisation has already seen?
Well, the benefits has been speed to market for us, being able to bring acquisitions into our organization and then rapidly deploy these platforms. We start with infrastructure. We start with data, actually. And then data has a long tail. So even though we start first with data, it never really ends. It's infinite. But we've built a data lake within Azure. We've built some components in Azure iPaaS to help create some differentiation with our core computing platform, which is number 1 in the home services industry, Service Titan. And so to build competitive advantage into our capabilities model, we are building some components in the Azure iPaaS platform. But in terms of the benefits, it's really about speed for us, being able to very quickly move our acquired organizations into a homogeneous computing platform environment has been key for us. And then in addition, we have a lot of development partners also that we work with, and being able to push things out to them like Cloud PC has been very valuable for us, such that we can maintain some level of control, even we don't really have that control. It's a partnership between us and Azure and our managed services cybersecurity SOC.
What future accelerations do you expect, whether they be business outcomes or maybe just something that is a bit more sort of down in the weeds and technological, better security, better application performance?
I think it is that observability. So that a couple of things, right? So the observability, the being able to see something happen, right, and then being able to take an informed decision on that event happening, right? And it's got to be a staged approach, because it will be okay, human intervention initially, and then it's okay, well, we believe that this is what you should do, okay, through to a fully automated system, right? So I think that's how, from a technology point of view, that's what we'll see, and it will drive that operational efficiency as well, because you don't want to be touching stuff that you shouldn't have to touch. Yeah. So I think moving forward, that whole automation of events will happen, and security is key to all, to all of this. It's you have to absolutely secure those transactions. Yeah. It's you and like full trust in the system. But for me, it is that observability and that interesting journey that kind of AI and ML is kind of going on at the moment.
Interestingly, you're all on these various journeys, and I was interviewing the CTPO of a major university recently, and you've all talked about the demands on your technology from your customers, from your peers across the organization. And in this story, we were talking about how we're going to need digital infrastructure to cope with the cloud operating model and the digital demands on our organizations. Do you recognize that challenge? Are you seeing that you need an infrastructure that can adapt and service this new operating model, this new customer demand?
So we still have a number of challenges. So there are some of the teams have achieved massive cost reductions. Others, their infrastructure is still very expensive. So what we're doing is we're working with, we're trying to embed infrastructure engineers within each product team so that they can bring that good practice in terms of observability, in terms of cost management, reliability, so that it's embedded in each product team. That's still a challenge for us. We're not there across the board. And as I said, in the research space, the way you put together a solution for research teams is very different from something you would put together for an external facing digital web application, because each research team needs to constantly iterate and change the way they process their data or the way they do their operations. So it needs to be much more flexible. So that's a challenge ahead. How do we engineer a solution that is flexible enough for that sort of use case?
And just to wrap up, gentlemen, sort of what in your organization or perhaps your vertical market, I don't want to get anyone into trouble, needs to change to fully embrace the potential of cloud? You're clearly doing a lot of good stuff with cloud, but we all know that our businesses or our verticals could do a bit more.
I think we're working really very closely with regulators. And what amazes me is to look at our regulators coming forefront of this and working with us to say, we want to understand this space more. They want to understand how AI, generative AI, and because they're also worried, how is it going to create that data privacy and those issues? So that's one area which I feel definitely. And another thing is, like, within the insurance consortium itself, we all have to start forgetting about becoming too protectionist about our businesses, but among the tech leaders, to share ideas about what works, what doesn't work, so that it becomes like a collective wisdom of the industry rather than just your individual wisdom. So that, I think, is the two things we should definitely see happening.
Gentlemen, thank you for a really interesting debate and a great insight into a real variety of vertical markets. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for joining the Studio 2023.